A modern payroll, global payroll architecture, I would say there are three or four components that come to mind. I'm sure there's a few others. The ones that come to mind quickly are what I call the GPCL, stands for Global Payroll Control Layer. What's happening there? You have standardized data mapping of compensation and benefits, earnings, taxes, deductions. And when you're doing this for 150 plus countries, you're going to have to standardize in order to consolidate and do global reporting. And now with the help of AI, to be able to be ahead of the game on predicting and forecasting and planning with respect to risks and opportunities, et cetera, that relate to the workforce. So standardized data mapping in order to get to a consolidated unified view. That's part of the global payroll control layer. And another major part is local compliance. Local compliance and calculation engine, right? Calculation engine, we know, typically refers to a gross to net engine. Well, the gross to net, I would say, is more linear and predictable and standardized in some countries, but not all. There are countries in Europe, in Asia Pac, et cetera, where the gross to net calculation is not so simple and straightforward. And you could do the research yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. And some of that relates to, for example, Social Security actually being different in the same country, having different Social Security tables, different earnings, taxes, deductions that are voluntary as well. A part of that calculation engine when you get country specific and try to aggregate it to a global view. A third pillar, I would say, is obviously, I'm wearing my green shirt because I'm talking global payroll. So we're talking about disbursement and treasury, the treasury framework. We want to get people paid where they are, how they want to be paid, and without any, let's say, anomalies or exceptions. We want to keep that a pretty fluid process in terms of disbursements. And the Treasury framework is, of course, government reporting around earnings. Fourth one, I would say, is reporting and analytics. Unified dashboards, much more prevalent these days. And a reconciliation process. I mentioned earlier, I actually started my career managing payroll for a brokerage house. Even though my title was head of HR tech, I was immersed operationally in different areas of HR. In those days, payroll reported to HR in that company. Probably over half of, it's probably 50-50 in terms of where payroll reports these days, HR or finance. But the reconciliation process basically took one person full time back then to really look at, what did we pay out? What did we withhold? Last pay cycle, do all the pluses and minuses based on levers and joiners and salary changes and one-time payments and all of that. And then come to a number of what we're expecting the net payroll to be and the gross payroll to be this cycle. That reconciliation process, I had a really smart person back then doing that full time. No longer needed these days because we have automated reconciliation processes that can, even with AI, predict transaction volumes and where the sources of errors may be in the midst of that reconciliation process. And lastly, automated delivery model. Automated delivery model, some of the common terms that are used, the aggregator model, right? Where there's different systems and platforms used around the world, and it's the services provider is aggregating all of those to provide, again, a global view, ability to plan, analyze, know what actions to take on a global level. That's the aggregator model. You also have kind of the integrated software platform approach to automated delivery. And finally, one that I know is near and dear to the hearts of my friends at Neeyamo is employer of record, the EOR model, which is, I think, part of Neeyamo's service delivery repertoire. And the employer of record, some people confuse it with PEO, Professional Employment Organization, but employer of record, EOR, is so relevant when it comes to an organization wanting to expand globally, because the EOR model allows an organization to pay people around the world without setting up legal entities around the world, which can take a whole lot of time. Hopefully that answers the question.